I don't want to talk about why the chainsaw was burned out in the first place. Enough to say that neat petrol was put in by someone instead of the two-stroke fuel. It took about 5 minutes before smoke started pouring out everywhere, and by then the damage was done. I've had this chainsaw for about 12 years and was sad to see the end of it. But then up stepped Chris, the hero, who, by day, is a modest quantum physician, but at night secretly resuscitates dead and dying chainsaws everywhere. We stripped down the engine until we found the damage. The old rings had melted spectacularly into the piston, fusing everything into a miserable mess, and chewed up the inside of the cylinder a bit too. The cylinder wasn't too badly damaged though, so we sanded off the high points with fine grade glass paper, at the same time trying hard not to dig further into the sides. Ooh, smooth! We decided all we needed then was a new piston, rings and gasket, and Chris found replacement parts on the internet. Nice, it slides in easily enough. As you know, piston rings spring out sideways to keep a tight fit inside the cylinder. So getting them into the cylinder is tricky, very tricky indeed, unless you use this neat little trick.
Yeah, the hard part is getting this thing into the cylinder head.
Just use a short length of plastic tube, the sort that silicone comes in, and 1,000 other products come in too. These tubes are everywhere, and all you need is a couple of inches off the top of one of them, cut down the side, wrap it around the piston and the rings. So lining up the rings first of all, to the little marks. The tube is thin enough to get inside the cylinder, yet stiff enough to squash the rings so that they will go in too. Without this little bit of plastic, the job is almost impossible, and with it, it's quite easy. Good. And once the rings are inside, you can slide out the plastic tube.
I can't remember how this goes now. Let's have a look.
And then you just have to remember how all the other parts go together. And if you're lucky, the job is done. Thanks a million to the mighty Chris, safely back in his lab coat now, herding his flocks of quantum particles, but the firewood stack would be much smaller without him. The first one went in fine. Film that bit though, did you? No.
There's a lot of pressure when the camera's on, isn't there? The hard part now is you got to compress these guys.
Yeah.
Squeeze them in and then put this on top.
Yeah. So, but you have a plan, haven't you, Chris?
Well, that's, yeah, I came to Tim. Tim's the man for this kind of a job.
Do you ever think of doing this commercially?
No. Oh no!
What? Don't forget to put the gasket in. It's got little markings on it. Is it important?
Ah. Okay, this part's going to be hard now. We have to connect all.
I thought we did the hard part.
There's no easy part.
Oh, isn't it? Oh.